Yeah, what's up, everybody? Welcome to a special edition of the Essentials Intelligence Podcast. I'm your host, Axstein, joined by Dr. Happiness. Hello, hello.
Hello, hello.
And, well, we just wanted to go over basically the event, a bunch of the stuff that's happened, talk about the experience, talk about the jumping, talk about the MGE, talk about the other stuff that we ran, and just talk about DreamHack.
Yeah.
And a little bit about the future as well. Yeah, first off, I guess just, we kind of wanted to talk about some history, the build up to this event, because essentially this event has been in the works for a really long time. And I mean that in the sense of bringing Team Fortress to DreamHack, as well as getting Essentials involved. We were basically, I know that I've been trying to get Team Fortress in to DreamHack since like the end of 2017.
Yeah.
And then we were making a big push to get Essentials involved basically kind of after Anaheim of 2020. But then the world changed.
Yeah, very much so.
But do you want to talk a little bit about that, how that connection, how that relationship has been building up and evolving?
Yeah, absolutely. It's been sort of, a multi-year process. We were originally going to start doing this with LANs. Ultimately we wanted to go forward with LANs, then the world changed, as you pointed out, and we sort of adapted. So we worked with DreamHack in bringing some online competitions, and they were very successful. We got a lot of traction. I think the first one we ran soon after everything sort of went down, we had 72 teams turn up and compete, and that was well received, got a lot of engagement. And since then, we've sort of been putting plans into work to try and bring Team Fortress 2 and its esports scene into the DreamHack sort of family. And Dallas is our first sort of real LAN type experience for TF2. It's its return to the DreamHack scene. Yeah,
it's been pretty exciting having it here, having you guys helping out with this BYOC stage as well that we have. We've been able to use some of the computers in the free play area behind us to do some really cool stuff. We'll get into that a little bit more. Let's get a little bit more into talking about kind of just how this DreamHack experience has gone for you guys. I mean, this is a bunch of yours like first adult trip to America, right?
Yeah.
And how has it been, and what has the festival been like for you?
Yeah. So it's the first time in 14 years that I've been over to the States. First time as a sort of a fully fledged adult. And also it's just, for me, it's been 2 years or so since I last been to a LAN, let alone a TF2 sort of a LAN where TF2 is involved. And I've got to say, it's just like every time I go to a LAN, it always makes me excited for the next one.
Yeah.
It's just an amazing experience because it's just a blend of everything. It's DreamHack especially. You've got sort of big esports like the world leading esports, and then you have some of the new sort of landmark ones like ESI Impact or ESL Impact. And then you've got sort of the smaller, more local stuff like the free play, BYC, and sort of what we do. So it sort of feels like the full gaming community, it's full range. And it's sort of all compact into this nice big hall that never feels too big enough for what we can do with it.
Yeah. Also, though, did you get a chance to go into the IEM?
I tried. I sneaked a little peek at some point earlier on in the week. And sort of just peeked in, had a look, and it's just an incredible feeling. It's my first little taster of the major sort of scene, and I can't wait for more.
Yeah, nice. Well, and then I guess a little bit as well, like how did the setup go for you guys? You flew in kind of late on Thursday, but we were able to get stuff set up and get comfortable. Did it feel like kind of getting back on the bicycle, as it were?
Yeah, exactly. It's helped shake off the rust of what we do, and it's sort of been a great experience to sort of get back into that, get that buzz of energy after these sort of couple of years. We're using Dallas to sort of bring sort of bigger and brighter things going forward.
Yeah. And of course, we is a little bit more than you. So do you want to talk also about some of the other Essentials people with you?
Yeah. So we've got a couple of people over in Essentials here. We've got Adam, Arch Rhythm, and Kirsty Soda. who have been sort of my sort of best buddies when it comes to production and getting TF2 sorted. And we've also brought in Connie from the US to sort of help us with production, and sort of over the past few days it's just been an amazing to sort of get the teams together and sort of bring in sort of those other faces we don't normally talk to sort of get things going.
Yeah, awesome. Well, yeah, we did get things going on day one. Jumped into an MGE Showmatch that we had going on, featuring yours truly, and that was a lot of fun. Was a little rough personally, as got matched up against one of the attendees here, who turns out is an RGL advanced player. And yeah, you know, personally, I'm playing in the RGL main, and you know, right away I was like, oh no, this is gonna be trouble.
Yeah.
I had to switch off my rocket launcher, the stock one, you know, or off the original to the stock one. You know, it's always a challenge. And you know, we had some things, you know, issues getting set, but we got the LAN server going and had some really good MGE. I think, though, you know, one of the highlights that we were doing across all 3 days, but was a lot of fun for us, and we got some other attendees involved, was the jump server.
Yeah.
You want to talk a little bit about how that came to be? And
so our friends over at Jump Academy have sort of helped us set up a 3-day event where you have an X amount of time. I think it's like usually about 6 hours per day to sort of post a fastest time on this server. And the fastest times sort of won $100 each, or fastest 3 times won $100 each. And that was sort of a great sort of opportunity to sort of get the non-competitive sort of TF2 audience and sort of bring the TF2 experience, or at least a part of that experience, over to the DreamHack audience.
Yeah, and I think that's a real fun one as well. Jump server is always just super chill, super mellow. Obviously, it takes a lot of skill and technique to successfully complete it, and to get through there in a fast time. A lot of creativity as well, and finding these, you know, routes that it needed to be. But it's really cool that we were able to involve a lot of people in that. We have some footage as well of that we're going to play through here. And we're going to show some runs that include staff members, but also, just so everybody at home knows, the staff members are not winning the money here, are not included in the payout. So, you know, we able to hand out some cash to Eric, who was the gentleman who MGE'd me, making some money there. We're going to talk about some of the other MGE a little bit later, but we do want to run into this jump footage and check out some of the maps that we played. It was Elephant, Beyond, and Summer were the selections there, which I think were all picked because, you know, pretty approachable jump maps.
Yeah, they're pretty accessible. I think the first one we're going to get into is Jump Elephant. That is a map I think is, on the whole, very simple. But sort of as it gets later on, there's some more technical jumps. But I quite like Elephant. It's a great map to sort of help warm up if you want to sort of get back into jumping. It has a bunch of sort of different techniques that you can use. It's a map that can be optimized at all different sort of levels. So it can be played slow for if you're a sort of a new novice jumper, sort of a new time jumper. But it's also a map where if you know what you're doing, you can sort of go really, really quick. So I think this is one of our first runs here. Yeah,
right now we're showcasing Connie, and again on Elephant. We'll be working through the tapes here, but this is a good way to showcase, you know, the start of what's happening. Got some of these other jump bots hanging out on the sides.
Shout outs to Jump Academy. Some of their tech that allows us to do these sort of replays, capture the runs and play them back. It's something that seems on the face of it really, really simple, but it genuinely just does. It's an incredible amount of work that goes into it. I want to just personally shout out AI from Jump Academy. He has been sort of consistently sort of been active during sort of our festival, making sure the servers are running, making sure that servers are opening and closing at certain times, and just generally being an amazing help.
Yeah, definitely. And we see Connie right now, this run, our third place, and getting through this strafe section, which
It's a tricky one. It seems
Yeah.
deceptively easy. You sort of, if you want to do this quickly, you need to know the very specific route.
Ooh.
He actually does do the skip there.
Yeah, great from Connie there.
That's really that's quite nice because it just allows you to skip a quite a tricky jump.
Yeah.
Where you sort of need to hit into a pogo straight into a sort of a ramp slide, and I can quickly run through what those techniques mean. So pogoing, as we're seeing sort of now, is quite self-explanatory. Almost like you're hopping on a pogo stick where you're shooting the rockets quite close to the ground as you're close to the ground, and it keeps you up in the air, keeps your momentum, and depending on where you angle the rocket, it can actually increase or decrease your momentum. So it's a really great way of sort of controlling your speed over long periods of time and distance. And ramp slides is sort of, it's what it says on the tin. It's sort of hitting a ramp at a certain angle. The sort of the TF2 engine, the miracle that it is, allows you to sort of maintain your momentum and slide up the ramp. And if you hit your rocket while you're on the ramp, you can get some insane movement, height, and speed.
And also, we just saw there Connie hitting a nice sink jump, which refers to basically your vertical momentum heading downward starts to outpace your rockets, and then you can shoot a rocket, arrive before your rocket, and then do a double rocket jump, essentially.
Just wanted to shout out that last little bit. That's very, very tricky to do. That's really, really nice as well. Unfortunately, hitting the wall there, but being able to sort of get that momentum, sort of bring it back up, and always lands it really, really nicely. Unfortunate. Yeah, if you land in the water there, you sort of go back. So one of the things with jump maps, they're sort of specifically designed that if you sort of don't do the jump properly, it sets you back to a certain checkpoint and allows you to do it again and again. So one of the things in trying to do maps quickly is you want to not make mistakes. But some of the maps that we're doing today allow you not only to do the jumps themselves, but also chain them into other jumps and be really, really streamlined.
Yeah, I mean, it's like a speed run of video games. You know, you're just seeing the, you know, fact you just got to try it over and over and over again. One little slip up is going to hold you back, is going to cost you time, and you know, yeah, you got to do it clean. And there's also a lot of ways that you know, you can kind of chain these together in some creative fashions. So here we see Eric. This is our second fastest time on Elephant.
One of our LAN attendees, and sort of won a lot of money today.
Yeah, over the course of the weekend, for sure.
Yeah.
Again, we'll get into the MGE results a little bit more later. But Eric, you know, definitely crushed me on day one. Solidly crushed me. I asked him for a further beating on day two, as that's the sort of masochistic mode I'm in with Team Fortress these days.
We're actually seeing a new technique in this run compared to Connie's, and that's called the speed shot. Now, the speed shot is it looks deceptively easy, but it's probably one of the more tricky techniques to pull off consistently.
Yeah.
What it requires. We'll
catch that
in a second. But the speed shot, it requires you to sort of land and have your rocket explode onto you at a certain period of time. The game sort of propels you further than normally expected.
Yeah.
And you can sort of chain them together to get some very, very fast speed. But what we were sort of flagging up and were quite surprised with is something called an edge bug. And an edge bug is very rare to see done consistently, only by the most expert jumpers. So the way TF2's geometry works is on the sort of the very edges of the game's geometry. If you land there, you can sort of conserve a little bit of your momentum and direction. So sometimes you can move in ways perhaps not originally intended, and allows you to conserve momentum just hitting the edge. So if you land further back, you'll just stop. But if you hit right on the edge, you can actually conserve some of your speed. There are actually maps designed to sort of practice that, and I have only been able to get past the first few. I've never been able to complete one.
Yeah. No, I was able to get finishes on all the maps, but I'm not much of an expert jumper myself, so I think my time on this one was about 7 minutes. So yeah, we didn't make the cut. Yeah, and the speed shots is really cool. That's something where, you know, it's kind of similar to the pogo, some of the mechanics of the pogo, but, you know, especially when you're coming from a really high vertical position and then you switch that into horizontal momentum, you can do some really cool stuff. And that's something that, you know, some of these jumps are maybe not super applicable to the competitive world of Team Fortress, but those speed shots can be really clutch. As we see Eric coming through this final section, super clean.
Very,
and,
very nice last
yeah, actually gets
there.
all the way down to the final there. So nice stuff from Eric, and we should just jump right back into that final run too. So
Elephant is a map, when we're talking about speed shots, Elephant is a map, I think, because this is, I think we're just going to go do my run now.
Yeah.
A little bit of a humble brag, but
yeah,
we see the speed shots right there. This is a map where if you can pull off speed shots, you should.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of gaps between them, the jumps. So every jump sort of feels a little disjointed at times, where you can sort of jump into one and then the other. But it's about sort of chaining them together. So you see in my run here, I'm trying to sort of, whenever I land, I'm trying to hit a speed shot. Because what that allows me to do is conserve that little bit more momentum and sort of just prevent myself from having to walk or do very slow jumps to sort of build that momentum up again.
Yeah, walking is the slowest way to move around as a soldier.
Exactly.
In the world of Team Fortress.
So this is the specific route you should be taking as a strafe. It's sort of out and then back in.
Yeah.
But it is sort of takes a lot of experimenting to sort of figure that out.
Yeah. This is real clean as well, getting that double nice and early. No issues with the sync there.
This is the bit when I was trying it on the Friday, was sort of where I was struggling. I was being able to get to this point of the map quite consistently at a decent pace. But usually this is where nerves start setting in.
Yeah.
Because you sort of sit there and you go, oh, this is a run, this is a run.
Yeah.
And then it's sort of, you sort of, sometimes you're your own worst enemy when it comes to this sort of thing.
I know that I maybe kind of lost my touch for some of these speed pogos, and that was something that took me a little bit of time to get really nailing them.
So this jump here, it's the bane of my existence because it's the one that has killed the most runs for me.
Yeah.
This one as well, it seems, again, it sort of seems quite nice and flowing, but it's like requires very intricate strafes like that. I did the same thing Connie did.
Kind of able to salvage that, and you even got all the way through. Nice.
So that was Jump Elephant.
Yeah.
That was day one. That was the Friday. And I think we'll sort of move quickly on to day two, which is Jump Beyond.
Yeah.
Now, Jump Beyond is, as a map, per jump is actually easier than Elephant. But the challenge is that Beyond is a map that is specifically designed by the map maker to sort of be, it's got a lot of jumps where you can skip entire jumps, and it essentially, a proper good run of this is just one consistent jump. There are no breaks.
Yeah.
It's the one where it's the most optimizable. It's the one where you can go really, really fast, and it's the one that has tested my patience the most. Because it requires some really, really fine movement.
Yeah, this one was cool. You know, a lot of basically kind of like Mario Kart shortcuts.
Yeah.
You know, just be like, oh, did you realize that you could go off that cliff and then like get around this way? You know. Yeah. And especially when you're hitting those fast rockets, you know, some other routes available.
So for the people sort of watching this, I think this is a great example of seeing where the people that are more experienced with the map, or the people that know the map, and the people that don't, or perhaps more novice, this is where it's probably going to be the most stark difference. So, yeah. And,
certainly kind of fun as well with just Jump in general, that, you know, people get to watch the other runs and kind of learn from each other, which also, you know, happens in the speedrun community, that, you know, people find different ways to do things. I don't know if they have an exact term for that kind of knowledge in the speedrun community, but I know that in the rock climbing world, the term is the beta, you know, of like different people have different beta, you know, or just like, oh, wow, that's really cool beta, you know. And I think that there was some of that going on where, you know, when Eric just first discovered this map and was jumping through this map, you know, there was some stuff that he wasn't doing. I know that he saw some of that you were doing, and he copied that. And then you also, you also found some new stuff that you weren't doing beforehand. You know, everybody making some improvements.
So this is Eric's run. So this is actually the winning one. I believe.
Yeah.
So we might get back to this one. We'll probably start with the third place one, but this is this, funnily enough, Beyond was a map made for a map making competition called Beginnings. Now, us as Essentials TF, we've actually covered one of the Beginnings tournaments before. Basically, it's a tournament where there's two parts. There's the map making part where people make maps, and then they're released to the jump community all in one go, and it's about getting the best jumpers in the world to post the fastest times in a very short period of time. And it's
yeah, Connie was our I think our third place one. I'm not sure if they were what tag that they were under in this competition. But yeah, and I mean, there's a lot of YouTube videos with jump runs that are really cool. And the Jump Academy you mentioned, they have a lot of really cool features, not only that we're using today, but also that you can find on their servers. Tagged up as Carnage, but this is not the Carnage Johnson. I believe this run by Connie took place after we had Carnage on the machine. You can see nice little speed bump there to keep things rolling. And then while that's an easily climbable wall, that's a good sync rocket to help with the flow, basically.
We see Connie trying to do a little bit of a ramp slide there, but ramp slides require momentum and angle. You sort of need to hit it at the right angle with the right momentum to sort of get that speed. So this little ramp here, it's slidable as you see Connie doing there, but that is a very frustrating ramp because it's so shallow. Yeah. But we actually are seeing Connie doing quite a decent pace here. Yeah. Seeing her trying to do a sink there, but moves into the water jump. So funnily enough, when you jump in water, you get even more height. Yeah. Again, many of the quirks of the Source engine have been exploited by the jump community to create some really, really cool movement.
Right, right. I think there's another kind of glitchy aspect of the next map involving water that we'll get into. Actually, you can do it here as well. Yeah. And Connie's sort of doing it there. It took me a second to figure it out today by my lonesome. If you hold jump, right, you kind of slide on the water.
Yeah, you conserve your momentum. Yeah. So you can sort of land, shoot rockets in the water, and you actually get more speed than when you first entered the water. And again, it keeps you afloat, keeps that momentum going. And it's a really good way of keeping like really good pace. That's one of the things with Beyond that we're seeing now. This is the king of keeping your momentum. Yeah. It all requires you to sort of not make a mistake. This is the one, if you want the fastest time, you have to be absolutely flawless.
Yeah, a lot of areas that, you know, a little extra rocket, a little extra movement, you can really do some cool supplemental movement.
So we're seeing the water bit here. Unfortunately not clipping it right, but we can see them jump in, hold space, and it conserves the momentum. You can see jumping out of the water and being able to continue sort of moving in a way that perhaps wouldn't without it, or without some other technique. So we are sort of coming to the end of this run. This requires quite a tight strafe, as we see there, nicely done. And then a nice little fall to sort of optimize the run there, try and shoot the wall, make yourself fall faster, sort of landing on this platform for a nice time. So that's actually quite a solid run. So the two runs coming up now are actually only separated by about 0.4 seconds. Yeah. So it's my run. So funnily enough, Eric actually takes the fastest time. So this is my run. So this is one I've tried to optimize. You can see already I've sort of taken a different angle, been able to keep that momentum.
Yeah, skip that sync jump in the beginning.
Yeah.
Connie and done.
So I tried to do a sync here, but it is quite tricky to do. Yeah. So I go into a wall jump. I'm going to try and do a ramp slide here. I do hit it.
Yeah, that's nice.
Which is quite nice. It requires really sort of tight strafes, and sometimes you have to even press the S key, which sounds counterintuitive when you're trying to go as fast as possible. So this is a nice little bit of tech. Yeah, I like seeing being able to hit that. So I was hit the ramp, shot off the ramp to get some height, and then actually shot the lip of the edge, which is actually something you can detonate the rocket on and actually skip a very, very tricky jump. Yeah. So at this point, I'm feeling confident. I'm like, this is a good run, very solid run.
Yeah, I like that sync jump there too as well. I saw you doing that. That's real clean.
And now this is the bit I start getting nervous. Because this requires, like, you can see there's two paths. I'm going to try and hit it here, and I do hit it. So there's actually a path below, above what Connie did. And I was sort of sitting there, I was like, I know I can make that straight. And I tried to get the run, but I couldn't ultimately do it. And I decided to go for a more safer play, just get the fastest time, get a time I'm happy with. So this is 1 minute 29 seconds, and I think 0.3 or 0.8. And I think we're going to run into the winning run by 0.4 seconds, which is Eric.
Yeah.
So as you pointed out early on, sort of taking the strats that I was sort of doing and using his own strats and sort of demonstrating sort of a very flexible sort of way of thinking and playing and adapting to the map, sort of testing new things, trying sort of new strats, and really sort of some very tight movement. So this is the first time I'm seeing it. I want to sort of see where he shaved off those extra seconds.
Yeah, right. And I mean, you had a really clean run. Only a few things that were just barely scuffed, and certainly these maps, as they get pushed closer and closer to world records, you just got to get tighter and tighter with your movement.
So funnily enough, at this point, I don't mean to brag, but I think I would be ahead. So it's whatever's happening in this second half of the map, Eric must have been doing some very impressive plays, so we're going to sort of witness that now. So sort of straight into that sort of water glide. Hitting these sort of ramps. So is that sort of like CSGO surfing, but not exactly? So what you can do there is sort of hold A and D like you would in surfing, but actually you have to use your rockets to keep momentum on the ramp. So at this point, I'm going to be really interested to see this sort of last bit of jump, because this is going to be the difference maker.
Yeah, really good speed coming into that section. And then
so he's actually going to hit, I think he's just hitting the really nice sink here. Oh, he's going straight into the hole without landing and using that bit. So it's that last little bit of the start of falling down the meteor that allowed him to sort of get that edge. So I think mechanically throughout the run, I think there was a bit more consistency on my run. But what mattered is that last little bit of optimization was able to save enough time compared to the rest of the run that allowed him to get the edge and get that top point.
Yeah, we could run that back again, and we can watch the runs actually all layer together. Because I think in some of these segments you had some pretty cool techniques that you were doing, particularly the section with the three platforms.
So now we're seeing Eric. So at this point, if we're watching Eric's POV, you can see my run in front. So at this point, it's pretty much neck and neck, but I hit the ramp slide and I go very quick here.
Yeah, as well as some of these segments where you were doing a sync jump through and skipping some of the stuff going on. Because even here with the pogos, Eric doesn't do this nearly as quick.
What's impressive here is, despite not doing the strats, he's being able to sort of keep that momentum. He's actually, despite me using the strats, he is still keeping up, which means he's doing the sort of the slower strats, but really, really well. So that's worth commending.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, right here was one of the big differences where he actually also falls in.
Yeah.
But obviously, too, there can be some downtime between the points.
So I think it is going to just come down to that last little bit. So you see me here, I'm going to be taking a bit more of a conservative sort of play here, take it a bit slower. Oh, interesting. So is it coming down to the wire itself?
I mean, yeah, it was 0.3 of a second, so now we must have gotten that one a little bit wrong.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Either that or the way that the timer worked, but Eric did pull that one out just a little bit behind you. But cool to see that.
It's cool to see again. Eric, despite not doing the strats, was able to sort of keep that keep up. It was only sort of in that last bit that there was a bit of a gap. So it's interesting to sort of see those two so closely done.
Yeah. Let's jump on over to summer as well.
The last map of the
that we were running today. Charlie, unbeknownst to you, I was making my final stab at it, and Connie was watching me struggle on the last jump, and then like check the Discord, and you're like, can we shut the server down? They're like, fingers crossed for Eckstein, but
Yeah.
I think only took me a few minutes after that to get it done. But yeah, I would have been distraught if I'd gotten that far. And
Yeah.
I think the last jump of this one is one of those ones too that it's like, I mentioned that I'm not as great on sync jumps, but I've gotten more comfortable this weekend, you know, able to put some time into it, and obviously watching other people, you know, helps to understand some of these mechanics and stuff.
Yeah.
So it was something I knew I could do.
I wanted to point out that sort of when you were sort of worried about the server closing, it was sort of on Beyond. I think I was on a pace that sort of even beat the record by quite cleanly.
Yeah.
But the server closed in time, so it's important that when you sort of these servers are open, you're on the ball. You're sort of grinding that out, because sometimes you might have the perfect run, and you sort of mess it up once, and that's it.
No, that's gonna do it. So. Yeah. So. Oh, okay. Sorry. Yeah, it sounded like Eric reset that timer a little bit early, and that must have how that worked out. The delay on the recording. So.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Yes, I see how that was done. Yeah, I'll think about it. Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, but definitely, you know, a lot of cool techniques with jump, and you just gotta keep at it. You know, keep grinding. So.
It's all about optimization with jump. You know, there's a way of doing it, and then there's a way of doing it fast, and then there's the way that if you want to sort of hit that top leaderboard, you've got to go for those sort of little edges, find every advantage
next level.
You can get.
For sure, 100%. Yeah, and here we go on summer. Moonlad was someone who was doing some jumping for us as well. Hadn't made it previously into our mentions, but
yeah, shout out to Moonlad. Had a conversation with him sort of earlier in the week.
Awesome.
When we were doing one of our MGE sections, and really chill guy, and he was sort of saying that in between days 2 and 3 for summer, this was a map he was actually trying to prepare for. So when the server closed, he was sort of went on an online server, and he was just like, you know, not the best ping, but he was sort of sitting there. I was like, I'm gonna try and get a time in, because he couldn't actually get a time done for Elephant. He tried as he might. So. You know, this is a map he really wanted to get a good time on, and you know, he made top 3.
Yeah. And yeah, certainly these jumps aren't easy. Most of these jump servers, I mean, and some of the maps themselves will have different sections. Some of the maps are quite large, while on other times the map's just, you know, specifically created for a certain level of jumper, a certain caliber.
Yeah.
You know,
so there's actually maps that typically are ranked. They're ranked by community members. So the maps we've been running are sort of in the range of tier 2 and tier 3, and it goes up to tier 6, where tier 6 is very complex and can only be done by the best players in the world.
Involving like triple syncs and stuff, you know.
So that was a nice little speed shot there, and sort of chaining that. That was really nice to sort of conserve that momentum. So Jump Summer is actually, fun fact, my favourite map.
Oh, okay.
It's not my most optimised, but it is my favourite, because it's a really good warm-up map.
Yeah.
You know, when you're sitting there and playing competitive, there are certain jumps you need to know and sort of techniques you need to pull off. And I think out of every map that I play, Jump Summer is the one I think teaches. It's the nicest progression, and actually teaches the techniques that actually most likely are going to be used in competitive play. So it's just about refining sort of the basic techniques.
Yeah.
There's little room sort of for really fancy tech here, like compared to Beyond, where it's all about the minute details. This is about just doing the techniques and doing them right. So, for example, this jump, it requires pogoing, as we're seeing Moonlad do now. What it requires is pogoing and increasing your speed to the point where you can clear a large gap like that. And that isn't easy, because the faster you go, the further you have to aim forward, as you need to catch up to your rocket by the time it detonates. So, little things like that, it is tricky to do.
Yeah, I mean, rocket jumping definitely a learned trait. You know, you can play a lot of Soldier in Team Fortress through casual servers, and even in competitive servers, and not necessarily have to work some of these jumps all that much. Yeah, I agree with you that this map and the jump maps that I like involve a lot of really practical jumps. Either speed shots climbing, or some of these things with the wall jumps. Getting through a server like this will get you, making sure everything's clicking as it needs to be.
Exactly.
So that if you're playing pocket or roamer, whatever your role is on the team, that you can hit the jumps that you need to. So.
Because the jump we just saw him do there, one of the things it seems a bit awkward, but you actually need to slow down. With one of the rockets, you jump off into the first platform, but you need to slow yourself down and get height to be able to hit the second one. But that's where you get the speed and being able to turn around that right corner. And that sort of technique of using a pogo not only to sort of gain speed forward, but also get a little height, is actually quite an interesting technique that you need to use in competitive. Because sometimes just doing a pogo lands you right in the enemy, but doing a pogo where you get height allows you to sort of land above them or land on top of them. It gives you that little bit more of advantage in certain fights. Yeah,
the last jump right at the end there, as well as this one, are maybe a little less applicable in competitive settings, where this is like, okay, you need to jump forward, you need to get under the wall, and then you need to go horizontal. A little bit less common. Also, those vertical climbs, particularly if you've already been pogoing. Kind of a weird trick of how basically rocket jumps work.
But so with rocket, one of the things with rocket jumping, and this is like any professional sort of soldier player will tell you, rocket jumping is the best way to start improving a soldier.
Yeah, just definitely.
Knowing the rockets, sort of knowing the speed, knowing where they land, how they land, and sort of.
Yeah.
So maybe the techniques themselves aren't particularly useful, but the actual learning of how to interact with the rocket launcher and the movement and things like that definitely does. So sort of one of our veteran sort of players that moved on to better and greater things, Seagull, was sort of notorious for a lot of the time when he's warming up, not to sort of fight other players or sort of do map talks, but it is just to go on the jump server for an hour or two before the match and just absolutely just post super fast times. So that's a nice little skip there.
Yeah, that was clean by Moonland lad, and well played.
So we actually sort of coming to the last two jumps here. So again, not techniques that are used a lot. We're seeing a bit of water usage there, but again, it's all about sort of learning momentum, conserving it, sort of firing rockets and having them land as you reach a certain position, and that requires a good level of awareness and sort of knowledge as well as mechanics.
While a lot of times the sync jumps are used here in these maps to get just kind of crazy height, it's something that is important if you're a roamer, because if you can land two rockets on a medic at the same time, they're not going to survive that. That's an instant kill. So it's good to be to know how that's done. And there's also some, rollouts as well that do involve some synced rockets. Quick rollouts to mid. It is a pretty good trait to have. And even some of these kind of weirder rockets, some of them Moonland kind of rescuing some of these runs with some scrappy bounces to finish up his jump. But I mean, those do help, and it's important to be able to kind of bounce around. There was a top 10 play of the month one time with Jae Hyun Pae, and he ends up doing a short little bounce off the wall and then coming back with the market guard. And, you're just like, what is
so
this,
impressive?
Man?
Incredibly impressive. And Jay's a good example of how you can incorporate jumps and using weapons like the market gardener, a weapon specifically designed to be used with rocket jumping, to sort of why jumping is important to know. So we actually saw Eric here, the sort of second place run, starting to sort of see, you're sort of seeing some of the techniques that he's been using in the earlier maps for this weekend, sort of combining them together. Quite a nice, really efficient early start here.
Yeah, interesting to just jump vertically and then get the faster horizontal off the wall instead of just going for the straight horseshoe there.
Yeah, I personally prefer the horseshoe because I think if you can sort of land into a speed shot, but being able to sort of maybe getting a bit of verticality and sort of then hitting the horizontal just allows you to sort of skip it. And if you're not confident on speed shots, or speed shots are, because speed shots can tend to be quite unreliable, sometimes the better play is to go for a technique you know and you can pull off reliably, rather than trying to go for the one that's going to get you the most time.
Yeah, 100%. We see Eric with a great launch into that jump, not starting from the pogo, but starting from a speed shot.
Yeah.
Or, you know, a wall side jump into a speed shot.
So we're seeing it here. So Jump Summer is probably the most segmented map out of the 3 we've seen today, whereas Jump Beyond requires everything to sort of flow together.
Yeah.
Jump Summer is one where jumps are very distinct from one another.
Yeah.
So we're seeing Eric having to use things like sinks and speed shots and transition from one map to another. A bit more like Elephant, but I think Elephant is one where you can flow a little more. Jump Summer is definitely the most distinct, where each jump is very clearly separate, because there's a bit of internal jumping compared to what we've seen with Elephant and Beyond, where there's sort of it's a lot more external at times.
Yeah, this is some good jumping from Eric.
Yeah, very solid run.
And should mention as well that Eric's actually a scout main in advanced. So, you know, all the top players, you know how to play multiple classes. They have their jumping down, but he's not necessarily a soldier jump expert. And certainly put plenty of grind in this weekend as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nice. That was a nice jump.
That was a very nice transition, sort of straight off the wall, and not having to sort of fiddle with very small rockets and just nudging them up. Just one very crisp rocket, sort of clearing that all. And probably going to end this with a nice little sink off the wall jump into the finish. Very, very clean run.
Yeah, that was a good sink. Yeah, and just another kind of small thing about jumping. Eric using the original there.
Yes.
I find that to be a little bit easier for the pogos and some of the wall climb stuff when you're just doing those short, choppy jumps. You know?
I personally prefer the original. When I sort of jump at home, I use the original. But I thought, because I was only able to use stock because of the free play PCs, I thought give it a bit of a challenge. Try you know, try a map or try a weapon I don't tend to use all too much for jumping. Because the rockets come out on the right hand side with stock compared to the original, where it fires from the center of your screen, you do have to sort of adjust your aim a little bit. So instead of pointing straight down on a wall climb like this, you actually have to aim slightly to the left to sort of compensate for where your rockets are going to come out.
Yeah.
So this is going to be our last run that we're going to sort of go through, and what a way to end it off. It is one of mine. Humble brag. But again, this is a map I absolutely adore. Shout outs to Mac over in EU for making it. Just a really nice, clean map where you can sort of transition quite nicely.
Yeah. Is that Mac with a C, Mac with
Mac
two Ks?
Mac with a C.
Okay, yeah, I'm joking because there's many Macs.
Yeah, many Macs.
Yeah.
But you see that I sort of was able to do a sort of ramp slide earlier on straight into a speed shot, and sort of saving a lot of time. So one of the benchmarks I use to compare against my personal best is I'm getting around here at the minute mark. So if I can get here at the minute mark, I'm on good pace. If I'm here, you know, 50 seconds, I'm on really good pace. And if I'm sort of 1 minute 6 or something like that, I'm like, okay, I need to sort of optimize the slate a bit. This is one of the jumps I think slowed me down for this run. Yeah. Because if you do it right, you can sort of get some very insane sort of high climbing on there.
Oh, that was nice off the pogo.
Yeah, sort of going into a pogo rather than having to jump straight from the wall, doing a pogo, conserving that momentum. So the technique I'm doing here, because I'm not as confident using stock, I go for the safer option, which is to sink. But if you're a bit more confident with your rocket jumping, you can sort of climb up each of the 4 walls and sort of speed up, save a lot of time there. Yeah,
that kind of well is an interesting one. Also one that, you know, there's a couple ways to do it and a couple different ways to cheese it, you know, as well. I know I had to kind of get a little cheesy to get through there, but.
So this is where you can see my nerves setting in a little bit, you know, sort of making quite uncharacteristic mistakes at this point, because I want to sort of get a good time. Again, sort of being able to catch myself with the rocket and use that to propel me up. I'm going to try and go for a sink here. I don't remember if I actually get the landing.
Yeah.
I do.
Ooh,
being
nice.
able to skip that last little
Yeah.
jump, and that allowed me to sort of get the 4-second edge on Eric and sort of claim that top spot.
Yeah, nice. Nice, well done. Once again, just to reiterate, staff not available for winning the prizes.
Yes.
So Eric did get our top prize for that event, which is awesome.
I want quick shout outs to some of the other sort of winners.
Yeah.
We have Eric obviously picking up a couple of winnings for each of the 3 days. And then Moon was able to sort of pick up 2 winnings. And then Bulldozer came over today. You know, friend of the channel, friend of all of us, came in and sort of posted a time. We sort of came over and said, hey, do you want to try and win some money? Sort of come over, sort of do a bit of jumping, and he sort of posted a good time on Summer, just not in the top 3.
Yeah. So congratulations to Bulldozer, Moonlad, and Eric. Speaking of cleaning up a little bit, Eric certainly cleaned up on the first day of the MGE.
Yeah.
But we had some fun on the second day with Eric being able to take out Carnage in MGE.
Yeah.
So, I want to talk about that real quick, and then we're just going to take a quick break. Okay, I guess we're going to take a quick little break. So stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be back. Yeah, welcome back, everybody, to part 2 of the Essentials Intelligence podcast. We're joined now by Kirsty, a.k.a. Soda. How's it going?
Going okay.
Yeah,
how are you doing?
We're doing good.
Nice.
Good. We're chilling.
You did the rocket jumping?
Yeah.
How did it go?
Oh, good. Really cool that we have that technology to run those videos, those runs back, and see the finer details and just kind of pull up the winning stuff. I mean, speed runs are an amazing thing. Kind of across all of gaming, and it's cool that in this competitive esport we have our own little niche of speed running, as well as just a way to just kind of chill, relax, and vibe sometimes as well. That's what a lot of people do in jump servers. It's just a good community and a good atmosphere, I'd say, right?
For sure.
Yeah.
Speaking of good atmospheres, Kirsty, you got to run around the LAN quite a bit, taking pictures for us.
Oh yeah. We got a big fat folder of pictures now.
Yeah.
And looking forward to sharing them.
Yeah.
A few of them have already gone out. Probably be uploading some more over the next week or so.
Yeah. We talked just a little bit about the DreamHack experience and what the floor was like, what the expo was like. You went down, you checked out the music last night. Some thoughts on that? Yeah.
That was great. I was sort of stuck in the pit for a lot of it, just taking pictures, like swarmed by other photographers. But it was so much good fun. And if I'm totally honest, I haven't heard a whole lot of their music online. I haven't heard it, but listening to them live was super awesome. When you can really feel it thumping in your chest. That's what I love about
that bass kicking you.
Yeah,
sure. Nice. And you also got a chance to run around, look at some of the BYOC computers last night, the case mods.
So DreamHack had a competition in the Discord, right, for all the cool kind of PC builds and stuff like that, and the keyboard setups. And we did some coverage of that in terms of photos too. And there's some very cool setups, some very
nice.
Interesting decorations as well.
Yeah, cool.
Definitely puts a lot of mine to shame. When I've had it in the past, I've had my sort of first PC was just a big black box, as it were, and just like one little light that says it's on. And then you sort of go into the expo and you got these people that had like theming ones, because there was the one that was sort of like a fire alarm kind of thing, where it had this sort of LED fire, and then internals were sort of spinning.
My favorites are always the like open air cases.
Oh yeah.
So like there's been a few of those. Like one of them just like on a test bench. A couple of them like full like open air cases where it's just a sort of backboard and then like standoffs and a glass panel. I love that.
That's cool.
That's a sick one.
Cool. I'm not sure how many that were out here that were like the super crazy, basically a diorama, right? I know that one time I saw one that was about 4 foot high, and it was like a Star Wars toy, one of the giant walkers, 4-legged walkers with Luke Skywalker hanging off the bottom. God. Yeah, it was pretty sick.
There was one in there as well where the whole like front panel of the case is like a screen. You could change it to like as a second monitor. That looked really cool.
Nice. That's sick. Let's talk a little bit about the coverage that we got up to in day 2 yesterday. We did a little bit of Rocket League. That was fun. I'm blanking on the names of our casters. I don't know if y'all remember.
I can
You can
find
look it up
them.
real quick here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
Rocket League was quite new for us, sort of with Essentials. Obviously, our sort of expertise it was with Team Fortress 2.
Right.
So having an opportunity at DreamHack, at least, to sort of not only do what we're good at, but also put our sort of dip our toes in the water for non-TF2 games like Rocket League was a great experience, and it just allowed us to connect to sort of different communities. Sort of say, hey, you know, we're TF2, and they're like, oh, TF2's, yeah, I know that esports scene, I know X player. And it was just sort of great to sort of see and network with people. You know, I've met so many people over this weekend just from being involved in those sort of different games. So
Yeah, definitely.
It was Blue Blazing and Kiro Ames.
Okay.
As well as you, right?
Yeah,
You
I
did
did
some
jump
of the Rocket
jump into a
League.
little bit of Rocket League, which is fun. I mean, it's car soccer. You know, I actually got to do a little bit of soccer at the start of 2021, doing the Honduran Premier League, which was a fun experience. And so, you know, just jumping into car soccer, you know, yeah, it's a little bit different. Sometimes it's hard to see the whole field, but we had some really talented players. The match that I got to do, you know, sometimes it's a little bit hard when it's just a beating, you know, and that was kind of what that Rocket League turned into, you know. But it was still a lot of fun. I also got to commentate some beatings over in the MGE arena.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
As,
Well, you got to take more than commentate.
Yeah, well, not on that day 2. I didn't take too many beatings. I guess off camera, pre-show, you know, I tried to check with our producers whether we got my one good air shot against Eric, and we could just edit it down to
Just
that.
that.
Yeah, just that's how it went, you know. But I don't think we have that. It's probably lost to the ether.
Lost
you
to
know?
time.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what's not lost though is the day 1 MGE.
Yeah, they still get to keep the trophy until they spend it at least, right?
Exactly.
You know?
Sure.
But yeah, we were joined by a TF2 legend, Carnage Johnson, and that was awesome. You know,
It's a great experience. You know, being able to sort of, because I think for me, I came into sort of TF2 sort of later on in its sort of life cycle. You know, I started playing in 2014 and sort of got into competitive in around 2016. So sort of by the time I came around, Carnage was sort of already gone, sort of out of the sort of the at the top level. But then you see it, you sort of hear his name and sort of what legacy he left behind with the meat shot, you know. So having the opportunity to sort of meet someone like that in person, even have a couple of sparring rounds, was sort of a great experience as well.
Yeah, I have to do the editorial correction on screen. I said that he had some Beater legacy videos, but it turns out that he actually was pre-Beater.
No.
Wow.
Yeah, and that I believe that Beater actually wasn't able to work with the demos because they were too old.
Yeah.
No way.
But Carnage does have some legendary frag videos, the meat shot volumes, I think 1 through 3. You know, that those were a real classic, and those are definitely one of those things that, you know, a lot of these kids are growing up on. And I remember the frag video that I kind of grew up on in terms of Team Fortress, which was Reptile, you know, and that's one where actually if you look back at that, you know, now it's kind of almost laughable. You know, it's like the big crown piece of the video is like him hitting like an air shot. You know, and it's just like, wow, he hit an air shot, you know, like, oh, that's crazy, you know. And you know, now it's like, then you had kids that were growing up on the Carnage videos, and then now you have like YZ50, you know, as well as just all of these Beater Legacy videos and other great videos. So you know, cool to have Carnage out here. Yeah, you got to stab at him. Connie took a stab at him. Connie was actually able to get the dub on Spire, which was pretty cool. Carnage was demanding at first. He was like, I want to play ammo mod all day, you know. And he's kind of old school, and that ammo mod's kind of old school, and Carnage was clowning on everybody in ammo mod, you know. So.
One of the people we had here, though, doing the MG on day 1 literally said, all I want to do is 1v1 Carnage tomorrow as Scout, you know? They were super excited about it. So to see that actually happen on day 2 was so cool.
Yeah, and that turned out to be super hype as well.
Yeah,
you know,
very close. They were at 1919, right?
Yeah, I think it was like, well, they played 3 times, and I think it was like 2018 in the Challengers' favor, 2019 in Carnage's favor, and then the last one was like 1919. And, you know, super tense, super hype. Carnage brought it back to get it to that point, and then he just got two-shot, you know.
Yeah.
So it was
that's Scout MGE.
yeah.
You know?
Yeah, exactly. You know, it can spin on ahead real quick, you know. We also got a cool interview with Carnage afterwards, which is a lot of fun. Awesome that he was able to come over and just kind of talk about his perspective as an esports legend.
Yeah, you know, we were trying to like, you know, set up that interview after the MGE.
Yeah.
And we were just expecting it to be sort of like, oh, how did you find, you know, facing the people at DreamHack,
yeah,
stuff like that.
Yeah.
But actually, that was a pretty insightful conversation that you guys had. And he offered some good advice to like TF2 players, both old and new, you know.
Yeah.
So that was actually a really interesting conversation came with that.
Yeah, Carnage has got a lot of esports background in him for sure, you know. So it's cool that, you know, he's willing to pass on that knowledge to the youngsters. I think that there are a lot of people that are willing to do that in this scene. It was also really interesting, skipping ahead just a little bit, but we did get to speak with the winner of our Counter-Strike Go tournament, and they also had kind of some similar comments just about being an older gamer, but, you know, your concerns kind of switch a little bit when, you know, you're a youngster and it's basically like you go to school and then you just play games all day, all night. You don't really have to worry about money because your parents bought your system for you. You don't have to worry about clocking in and out of a job.
Exactly.
Your job's got a fixed schedule that works pretty well with keeping your evenings free, you know. But the gentleman who won, you know, is talking about like, oh, you know, somebody got married and they, you know, were disappeared for a couple weeks. Somebody had a vacation that conflicted with this, so we had to bring in a substitute, you know, and just the struggles they've had, but also playing with a core of, you know, familiar gamers, time after time, you know. But before we, you know, touch on the Counter-Strike, we also had some really cool Valorant yesterday.
Very cool.
And I'm not sure if y'all heard the story. So it was Team Canada was the winners of the grand finals. And Team Canada was actually a group of gamers that won a tournament in Canada to get the opportunity to come here. So
I didn't know their like backstory.
Yeah, and apparently it was ran by the LAN ETS crew, that college.
Yeah.
And they were a group of kind of, you know, almost pro players that just kind of put together a pug team for that tournament.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then we're able to continue that presence and bring it here. So
that's so cool. I think us being able to do more stuff like that for Team Fortress 2 would be super cool. Like integrating our like wider online competitions. You know, like for example, the DreamHack Community Clash stuff that was done online. You know, being able to offer, you know, in-person sort of opportunities for those winners and those runners up would be so cool.
Yeah, and that's one of those things that, you know, as our organizing skills get better, as we all kind of get more used to this situation and just get more time under our belts, you know. That's basically, we've been a grassroots community for so long, but looking around at other sports, other communities, other esports, let's say like Smash and the fighting game community, I mean, they have a lot of things that help benefit them in the fact that, you know, all their games are 1v1 and you can just have people bring over controllers. You can just set up 8 PlayStations. People can bring over PlayStations. It's a lot easier versus just being like, oh, I want to get everybody together in my town and we're all going to MGE, you know, and you know, we even faced that a little bit of, I actually wanted to give him a shout out to rewind back to MGE stuff, but Scoob, who came out, who was a Quaker, and was just like, oh, you guys got rocket launchers. Well, I want to play in this. You know, but it took him a second to get set up, to get geared up, you know, so.
And to be fair, he was against Carnage. Right?
Yeah.
So that's a tricky opponent for like not playing the game in a minute.
Yeah, certainly, and also I think we were still on that ammo mod at that point. So it came at him real quick.
Very intense.
You know.
And jumping in at the deep end there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Versus Carnage on ammo mod.
That is a rough introduction to Team Fortress for sure. But yeah, I mean, you know, if we'd thrown him on Scout, put him on Viaduct mid, you know, like could ease him in a little bit more there.
Exactly.
You know. And I think we're gonna try to rotate Connie in. I don't know.
I'm gonna swap out for Connie.
Kirsty. Okay, awesome. Pleasure having you on the desk.
Thank you. You too.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I'm not sure if you guys are picking up the sax in the background.
The legendary epic sax of DreamHack.
Yeah, for sure. We got Connie joining us. Welcome, Connie. How you doing?
Hello.
Hello, friends. How's it going?
Hello. Fabulous. You have any quick thoughts that you want to add about either just DreamHack in general or the rocket jumping experience?
Honestly, the weekend has been a great return to LANs.
Yeah.
Like, being here at DreamHack, a lot of people know me as, like, the RGB person. I do the production for RGB. And being here, I mean, it helps that some of the DreamHack staff are actually, tied into RGB as well.
Yeah, certainly.
But the feel here is almost like it has that same community feel, but just on a huge scale.
Yeah.
And just taking it all in, it's like,
I think that's the beauty of the sort of DreamHack experience. It's sort of it's a wide scale event, but it's still got that feeling of sort of closeness with everyone. You know, when we've been meeting the Rocket League guys or the Valorant people, or we had someone help out on the Valorant production, who was like super chill, and just everyone's sort of really up to really positive, really just wanting to sort of connect and just get stuff on screen and talk and just hang out, and it was just a great experience. Because again, it's been a while since many of us been to LAN, and sort of coming back with something like DreamHack, it was just a fantastic experience because some people might turn up to a LAN and say, I want to play CSGO, or I want to play Valorant, I want to play Rocket League and stuff like that, but there's so much more to do.
Like, because obviously we're covering the BYOC.
Yeah.
But the BYOC is just one part of it. You've had the BYOC, you've had IEM, you've had the Impact tournament, all of these crazy different expos, all the CSGO teams that have their expos, the Intel Expo.
Massive Magic section as well, Magic the
Yes,
Gathering.
wow, yeah.
Rows and rows of Magic.
Yeah, cool to see all the communities coming together. I don't know who won the CRL Rocket League. I watched a little bit of that today. That was really cool, the Collegiate Worlds. The IEM finals taken home by Cloud9.
Yeah,
Seemed
on
like
home turf.
Pretty dominating 3-0. Not so easy for Ents.
No.
Yeah.
EU will strike back, as it always does.
Yeah.
Yes, it was Northwood winning the Collegiate Rocket League. I sort of want to shout out my sort of personal University of Portsmouth, sort of flying over, sort of champions of Europe. Sort of flew over, had a bit of a rough one, but it's their first time at a proper LAN, especially one that was on a sort of a major stage and seen by so many people. I think they did a stellar job, so personal shout outs to them. But all of the sort of EU collegiate teams coming over, and the NA collegiate as well, it's just a great experience for them. But yeah, as you're sort of pointing out, you've had so many sort of large scale and small scale sort of stuff all blending together to one experience. Because I think DreamHack is that. It isn't just a LAN, it is an experience.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
I mean, even with the Motionless in White concert.
Yes.
That's something, like, you would never think about, oh, I want to go to a LAN because I want to go see Motionless in White. But it's just... And the thing, too, the singer of Motionless in White during the concert was even saying, like, because of the environment we're in and how the different stages are, it just kind of feels like we're hanging out.
Yeah.
Even though they're playing a gig.
It's amazing. I love it. I absolutely love it.
And I also just love that there's kind of this homogeneity and that everybody kind of experiences that, like, everybody I've seen or talked to about it just gets the community aspect.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think it's a really fun vibe. It's cool that we were able to be here and support the BYOC's tournament. Basically, there were a bunch of other games going on, Runeterra, Teamfight Tactics, bunch of stuff that we weren't quite able to cover. Hearthstone was going on as well, but we were able to cover the CSGO, at least the 5v5 this morning.
Shoutouts to 3 Days of Wingman.
Yeah,
3 Days of Wingman.
And there was definitely a bunch of wingmen that would have been cool to cover, or even throw our hat into the bucket, which probably would have gotten lit on fire real quick. But what is it, Ice World? I don't know. Let's go. But that was a lot of fun. Got to cover that with Cairo, and one of those things that it was interesting to hear from that team because they actually were pretty dominant in the grand finals. But they were saying that they actually had some struggles in the tournament. There was a couple maps that they were challenged on.
Yeah.
And also as well, just interesting to hear that they were an ESEA main team.
Yeah.
You know, so one of those things that they were able to get out here to travel and throw down the gauntlet. And hopefully in the kind of, you know, semi-pro Counter-Strike scene that some of those players, you know, take that to heart. You know, that gentleman, Hurricane, talking about like, look, it's a challenge to get out here. It's not necessarily easy. And he was talking, I already kind of mentioned it, but, you know, some of the behind the scenes stuff that just can make it difficult for a team to stay together long term and to get out. And I know that we had a lot of bumps in the road on the way to, you know, Essentials.tf and TF2 coming to DreamHack.
Yeah.
But, you know, you just got to keep going on it. You know, life is too long to let that stuff like stop you, basically,
Exactly.
right? So
All about that perseverance.
Exactly.
yeah, 100%. Wanted to shout out to the ESL Impact. It's the ESL's Ladies Counter-Strike, more than just a singular tournament. Their league that's been going on. The grand finals are set. It's actually going to be like the final thing that's going on here at DreamHack Dallas. And was an exciting semifinals. Shout out to Enigma Galaxy, who booked their place in the finals earlier. But Furia with a bit of an upset against CLG Red. They took it to overtime in the second map, won that, and then got into the grand finals by taking that third map. So that's going to be exciting to see. Furia versus Enigma Galaxy, available on the ESL CS _GG channel. Yep. I think we've covered most of our topics about this DreamHack.
Yes.
Are there any final thoughts about this DreamHack that y'all want to talk about?
It's been just an amazing experience. You know, it's been so long since we've had a LAN, so long since I've been in the States, and yeah, it's just been an amazing experience. I just want to just say thank you to all the DreamHack staff who just helped make this an amazing experience, from the sort of the admins over in the Nerd Operations Central, and everyone sort of helping us sort of get equipment, get everything going, sort of sorting out servers and all of that.
Yeah.
It's just been fantastic.
Yeah, a lot of good stuff. I want to give a shout out to Cairo, who joined us for some of the casting. Give a shout out to Gizmo, who's been a huge point of contact for us. Also, you mentioned some of the network guys. Defender Noel and Duck both were major helps in getting us set up with what we needed on servers, and also just hooking everybody up with internet.
Exactly.
There's another gentleman whose name I'm going to butcher, who helped us out. I'm not even going to try to butcher it, actually. And then also wanted to shout out Barry, a.k.a. Barball, and Jared, who were big parts of that BYOC crew. Also Chris Grazel, who just, is in charge of the whole free play crew and always does a fantastic job of making sure that the BYOC is a good time. He's like, wait, what? But no, he's an awesome dude. We appreciate his help, all the DreamHack people's help. There's Cairo right there.
Sorry, guys.
As, we're hijacking a camera.
Because they wanted me to prove that we didn't all have ponytails. So
fair,
here I am with my very much not a ponytail.
It's funny, speaking of Jared, he's one of the BYOC people I mentioned that he actually went reverse over COVID. He previously had a ponytail, but now trimmed it off over the COVID times, speaking of... Oh, wait, no, go ahead, Connie. Yeah, of course.
So I think the people I have to shout out is, first of all, RGB people who are here.
Yep.
As you said, Defender Noel Will is both the network guy for RGB and DreamHack. Dave Silva, he's doing all the operations management. And then Justin Nareth, he's helping out at the Intel booth. And without them, I wouldn't be doing LANs. And without y'all at Essentials, I would not be sitting here on this couch right now. So I do have to thank y'all for invite me out, let me do the production with y'all. It has been a hell of a weekend.
And it's been an absolute pleasure.
Yeah, it's been an awesome time there. Getting to see behind the scenes again. Yeah.
Arch Rhythm.
Yeah. Shout out to Wales, by the way.
Shout out to
congratulations to the World Cup qualification earlier today.
Viva Gareth Bale.
Yeah, Viva Gareth Bale. Let's go.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, it's been a lot of fun here, and
I think those are all my thoughts on Dallas.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. So, you know, DreamHack, some of their future schedule has been announced, and on the agenda coming up in November 18th through the 20th, it's going to be DreamHack Atlanta.
Yeah.
Charlie, do you have anything that? Oh wow!
Straight on
Producer
the
just spoiling it. Yeah.
Funny that you mentioned that.
But yeah. Team Fortress 2, we're going to have a full 6v6 tournament. We're going to gather teams from all around the US. Let's see if we can try and get some international attendance. We're going to make a big impact at DreamHack Atlanta for Team Fortress 2. We're going to blow every other competition out of the water, as we always do.
TF2 better than Fortnite.
Yes. I do want to quickly shout out the bit at the bottom there. If you are currently interested in attending DreamHack Atlanta, it's 50% off all tickets for the next 24, I think 36 hours.
Until the end of midnight on Monday.
Yes.
Yeah. So more than 24 hours.
TF2 is absolutely going to be there. So if you are a TF2 player and you want to go to a proper Sixes LAN, have it all there, the works, everything, the full experience, 50% off for the next until Monday midnight. Definitely go and start getting that now, because that is going to get eaten up very quickly.
Yeah, and I mean, that's the easiest way to start. Obviously, I guess the floor map's not out there, but, you know, gathering your team, getting people ready to go. And Atlanta certainly has a strong contingency of Team Fortress players, as well as maybe not being, you know, super central for the entire scene, but central for the East Coast. You know, available for people from, you know, Florida or New York area to get down to it. Or from, you know, Midwest states. And yeah, Atlanta 2019 was a great time. You know, got to run into a couple Team Fortress players there. Shout out to AIM, shout out to High Five.
Yep.
We were running around. I dunked on High Five and MGE. At least a couple shots. There was a few fat combos.
A couple of shots. A couple of shots is a couple of shots.
Yeah.
But yeah. I would recommend, if you are interested in coming to Atlanta for TF2, keep an eye on the TF2 Essentials Twitter, so that's at TF2 Essentials. Check out LAN.tf as well, and our main page on essentials.tf. LAN.tf/Atlanta. That should be live now. We're also going to throw up a couple of threads on RGL and Team Fortress TV, so keep an eye out there for more details, and we'll update as we get them.
Yeah, it will be really exciting, and I mean, that's one of those things that in 2019 when I showed up in Atlanta, Kyle was like, you know, one of the main people of DreamHack. He's like, oh yeah, Jeff, this is you know, Burnham. Burnham is Jeff. He's a Team Fortress person. He's like, oh yeah, Team Fortress, we're working on that. You know, like that was his first reaction. You're like, oh, okay, awesome.
All right.
So I want to give a shout out to TSC. You know, as part of laying that framework. TSC has you know, been a big part of the Team Fortress community.
Very
really
prevalent
been.
admin.
Yes.
Yeah, very influential, and has developed a lot of the tech that we still use these days. So very happy for everything that they've done in the past, and you know, setting the groundwork again for Team Fortress at DreamHack.
Yeah.
And it's just really exciting. I hope that we can get a good crowd. Obviously, the 2022 calendar for Team Fortress has gotten a little bit more crowded.
Yeah.
RGL is looking to do some LAN coming up. We got the Banny Recept.gg LAN coming up in a couple weeks.
Yep.
And yeah. And of course, we also should speak about the Insomnia LAN.
Yes.
Because that's also on the calendar in a couple months.
So sort of the longest running sort of Team Fortress, big esports event for Team Fortress, Insomnia series based in the UK. That's sort of back this year in the August weekend, I think, around 26th, I think.
That bank holiday.
Yeah, so the UK bank holiday, because Brits love bank holidays, so love days off. But yeah, so we're having a return there, so that's going to be EU's sort of opportunity to sort of get back to the LAN experience. But yeah, we're sort of we're going to be trying to push DreamHack as well, sort of have these big sort of esports events, so have a bit of DreamHack, have a bit of Insomnia. It has been a a fiery return for LAN and TF2.
Yeah.
And let's hope sort of we can keep this train rolling.
Keep the heat coming.
Exactly.
100%. Yeah, as Carnage was saying, it also definitely comes down to players playing the game that they love.
Yeah.
So keep doing that. Don't stop doing that.
Never stop.
Yeah, never stop, never stopping.
Once a TF2 player, always a TF2 player.
Of course.
Yeah, just about. So, that's the main point of advice. If you can't make it to Atlanta, at least try to help us out by just kind of spreading the buzz about talking about it. Certainly we're going to be looking to do some of the same stuff that we did here and just build upon that. It would certainly be a lot of fun to do an MGE challenge with some superstars. Definitely think that jump would be included, particularly because that's just such a chill thing for people to do in the downtime between events. We can throw some 6v6 up, we can do some pugs, but just while people are chilling, waiting for stuff to start, they can just jump into the jump server and log some times.
Yeah, exactly.
I just have to get to convincing to get a surf server up.
Oh, surf,
Throw it up
shout.
there,
Good shout.
Jump and surf are cousins of the same family, and certainly momentum mod. Arch Rhythm was playing the Quake 3 version. I forget the name of it. Defrag. Yeah. So
there it is.
That was cool stuff. So. Yeah, we got the overhead lights flicked up on us, and we're actually losing internet in like 15 minutes. Somebody's going to run by and just pull the cord.
We don't want to repeat some DreamHack history from the past where we pulled out of the venue. We don't want that.
Pulled out of the expo hall, but
poor little
turns out you get a little different setup and you get different rules going for you. So. There's some, cool to collab with the Expo Center, and that's how that worked back then. We're over here in the BYOC gang these days. Pallets are coming out. Boxes are going to be filled up. Basically, the whole thing working in reverse. And, let's do some final shout-outs.
Yeah.
Charlie?
So I want to quickly shout out Bemi, who has been our Valorant
for sure.
admin, and basically it's just been fantastic for us. I want to personally shout out Eckstein. Without this like TF2 at DreamHack, with Essentials at DreamHack, it just wouldn't have been possible. You got us in the door. I want to give a huge, massive shout out to Kyle Gizmo. That guy is an absolute maniac to sort of have us on, and it's been an amazing experience to work with him. And apart from that, I want to give the shout-outs to the rest of the sort of core Essentials team. So that's Arch Rhythm over in production, Kirsty, sort of creative and sort of just sort of everything, and then our boy at home, John, sort of owner of the Essentials, and practically one of the most tech wizards I've ever seen. Just being able to sort of help come in, do some work from the UK, sort of get servers spun up, sort out all a bunch of background tech stuff. We've had a relatively easy not too many technical issues this event, and I think a lot of that is thankful to John. So huge shouts outs to all of them, and shout outs to the people from TF2 that did turn up. It was great meeting everyone, sort of like that stuff like that, and I want to sort of do it again and again and again.
100%. Connie, some final words?
Honestly, once again.
Ooh, there's Kyle.
There's Kyle.
Dancing it out.
And the myth
out of focus,
Gotta love that cowboy.
Oh, there we go. Hey! Perfect. Oh, hey!
He's got it.
Oh, dancing off. Yeah. There we go.
All right. Connie, shout outs.
First of all, hi, Mom and Dad, if you're watching us.
There you go.
I hope you're proud I'm in Dallas. And just, once again, shout-outs to the RGB crew. Like, they've not only been integral to my participation in LAN events, participation, but, like, even just changing how DreamHack operates. Introducing things like the Midnight Madness. Just been... Without them, I wouldn't be doing what I do.
Kyle, welcome to the set. We're wrapping up because we're going to get internet pulled in like 10 minutes. but we are glad that you could grace us with your presence.
Well, thanks, Jeff.
Yeah.
I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, you got some shout outs already, don't worry, and some shots of you dancing to the sax man.
It's on repeat again. We did it for 5 hours when we loaded this baby in on Friday night. Yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
Got to do teardown just how you do setup.
Magical.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah,
You got to kick them out the same way.
Exactly.
Make it a rhythm.
We were talking about DreamHack Atlanta a little bit.
Oh,
yeah.
I
we're
hear
excited
there's a resurrection of a game coming down to DreamHack Atlanta as well. Something that hasn't been on LAN at DreamHack in, man, how many years has it been?
Well, the winter one was 2016. I'm just gonna pull that out, something like that. We had some people casting back then that have then moved on to some other big esports that we don't have to name, but they're great people. Shout out to Sideshow and Bren. They're crushing it. And hopefully we can bring some awesome 6v6, kind of similar to Kyle's fan group that's rolled in.
I love you all. I love you all. Yeah, I'm very excited to bring TF2 back to the LAN, especially in Atlanta. We're going to be able to bring that with a lot of lead time, let the community know what's coming down the line, get on this calendar. I know we've struggled with that a little bit in the past, trying to get things going, but we are going to bring that LAN party vibe back for Team Fortress 2, and I really hope that we can make this one of the bigger LANs in North America again. I know when we first really did something at GXL all those years ago.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Kyle was a big part of that.
That was like 2014 that we were there in Philly.
Yeah.
Oh, that was amazing to see that, and I want to bring that vibe back. I've always loved the TF2 community and everything that they believe in and how passionate they are. So getting them out to Atlanta will be a great way to introduce them to DreamHack and bring them into the family that is North American DreamHack events, I think.
Yeah, and then, like a virus, we're going to take over, actually, slowly, spread our way through the BYOC, and then y'all will be like, it's 2 in the morning. Are they going to slow down? We're like, nah.
No, they keep going.
One more to do it.
Yeah.
Just one more.
Yeah.
Just one more. Come on, 1v1 me, bro.
We got that 11 o'clock call for a Counter-Strike 10-man, and hoping we can get that 3 a.m. shout out for the Team Fortress pugs. So that's the challenge. I think.
That it is for sure.
You want to give any DreamHack shout outs while we got you here real quick?
Absolutely. Essentials, thank you so much for running the stage all weekend long and helping us get the broadcast out for our BYOC tournaments. Jeff, always. You've been my homie for so long.
Yeah.
To all those guys and gals and everyone else out there, thank you so much for being a DreamHack and being a part of the BYOC, a part of the amazing Dallas we had. This was a really cool event.
Yeah.
We appreciate everyone coming out and being a part of all the stuff we've done during the past couple of years as well, and building up to this moment where we came back to a live event. So thanks for bearing with us, and glad to have us all back underneath the same roof.
Yeah, 100%. I'm just going to give a couple quick shout-outs, and then we're going to wrap it up. Shout out to the guy who looked really excited to come over and talk to us while we were in the middle of our podcast earlier. Unfortunately, didn't get to give him any sort of acknowledgement because we were busy. But
no.
I think he got the rundown from Mitch a little bit later. Shout out to Mitch as well, who's an old DreamHack friend who was getting the tour. I was hoping to run into him this weekend, unable to do so. I want to give a shout out to my girlfriend Citrus, who is supportive and inspiring in all sorts of ways, and definitely, it's just got me fired up to be a better supporter myself of Team Fortress, to get more work done, to just have our events better set up and stuff, exciting stuff, and just really happy to be here. Happy to have the Essentials TF people. I was so much looking forward to this, and it was super awesome. It was an excellent time. And, of course, thankful for Kyle, the entire DreamHack crew. And, we're going to get the internet pulled on us if we don't get out of here too soon. So that's going to be it for us, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'm Eckstein, and we will see you next time. Peace out.